As I've been saying, subscribe to Skywalker Boxing,
and I like
Dub Rightside,
you know. And he has a chance to win that fight against Ortiz, but
Rachel Donaire, D-Ray Promotions, and D-Ray.
And you know, whatever.
Respectfully.
But I ain't gonna lie, man.
But I'm saying, like, I think we created a culture in saying that he looks like he can fight, and most of the time when you see someone off the street, you think this big guy can fight when most of the time he can't. And then you see someone like Andy Ruiz or Tyson Fury. Let's shrink Tyson Fury for a little bit and not make him so damn tall. But if you saw Tyson Fury on the street, you'd be like, bro can't fight, no damn way. We've made this culture
Canelo.
into
More like Canelo though, not Tyson. Tyson's 6'9". We talk about like Canelo.
He should fight.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, just move Tyson, like Tyson Fury, like shorter, and just keep his body dimension the exact same.
There's only one Tyson Fury.
But there's no way that you would think that guy could fight if you picked a fight in a bar with him.
Hey, he did have like, 4 asses when he was about to fight.
But we've created a culture that we're going to assume some type of way because they're like, they were throwing a ball on their stomach like 50 times a day, a medicine ball, or they were, they took a punch from the mountain, so he should be able to take a punch from anyone else, right? Like, just.
Rachel, you know who I would look at and I would be like, man, this person can't fight. Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce, in my opinion, when I look at him, like, man, this dude can't fight. But he go in and he win fights. You know what I'm saying? What you think about Joe Joyce?
Who? I was going to ask you about Deontay Wilder coming back against who Helsinki. Go ahead, though, man.
What you think about the heavyweight division?
Yeah.
I think Fury is going to come back once what did he say? Once who is it? AJ is fighting.
And Usyk.
And you know, the thing is that when I saw Usyk come up in the WBSS, I got to see the finals ringside in Russia, and it was like this. What Nonito told me, and I was so like weirded about it, is he said. He was like, he fights like, you know, like Lomachenko, but just a bigger one. And I was like, well, how come nobody else can fight like that? And he said, because when you have a heavyweight, you train them for power punches. You don't train them like what he can do. You kind of limit them, put them in a box. And I told him, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, it's just a bigger fighter. It doesn't mean that they can't do it, even if you haven't tried to have them do it. So I had a really like big respect for Usyk, and I think Nonito. Were you the one that called Usyk the last fight?
Against Joshua?
Yeah, against Joshua. Nonito we were on a panel, and we all said Joshua, and Nonito said Usyk.
Who y'all got in the rematch?
Yeah, AJ.
Who you got on the rematch, babe?
Same.
He said same.
Agreed. Man, Joshua, if he can't figure out how to bully people, he's gonna have to bully Usyk to win that fight. And I see that in his game, bro. Like that's not a part of who Anthony Joshua is. He's nice, bro. He's too nice. And if you can't bully Usyk, he's gonna get his ass beat again, man. Usyk's footwork is too good.
Well, see, and that was the reason why I picked Joshua on the first one, because I figured that he was going to push his weight and bully Usyk, being that Usyk was coming up, right? I thought that, like, maybe he just wasn't set into that weight yet. And
see how we gave Dub this final round,
more
right?
heavier. Usyk seemed a little bit more heavier on his feet than the weight before. So I was kind of leaning towards AJ because of the fact that if he gets caught on his feet, because it's more flat-footed than normal, then he would be able to bully him if he gets him on his feet. But that wasn't the case that night, and so Nonito was running around the house saying, "I told you so," which is far and few between when he actually says that. But
so who are you picking this time then?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Usyk on this one because like
come on. I guess I'll be right though by myself.
Bro, my problem is Anthony Joshua. He's not a bully, bro. Like, even though I want him to be a bully, but he's not a bully. And because he's not a bully, bro, it's gonna unless I think he's working with Garcia now. You know what I'm saying? Unless Garcia can teach that in a very short amount of time.
You mean Mikey? Mikey gonna be the head trainer soon, but what about Canelo and Triple G? Do you think Canelo's trying to bully him?
Man, Triple G ain't got no goddamn chance in that fight.
I don't super like that fight.
You don't like it?
No, I mean, I don't think. I mean, he's a strong puncher, but at the same time, I think that Canelo has just gotten so much bigger in bullying. I think that he does rush forward with his head a lot, and I think that if G wants to win this fight, he's going to have to get out, like hit in between the punches and get out. But I think that G wants to sit there and trade. I think that's going to be towards his detriment.
Do you think he's, especially after the last Murata fight, did you see that fight, Rachel?
Yeah, but Murata's a different, like his build is even completely different, and the way that Murata was coming is not how the way that Canelo's going to come.
But I think that the body shots that comes from Canelo will be meaner than the ones that come from Murata. And in my opinion, I thought Murata hurt Triple G with a body shot in the fight. Do you think Triple G, he's gotten up in age, do you think he's a little more soft to the body?
I don't think that that's a necessary thing due to his age. I just think that that's something that it's open. Again, like the same thing with Canelo is that when you watch his punches, there's a pause in between his punches that's open. Nobody wants to throw it in between his punches because they're afraid to throw, because they're afraid of the aftermath of throwing.
My bad, go ahead. I said, they're afraid of what's coming back. Go ahead.
Exactly. So, you know, I don't think that it has anything to do with that, but I think it's the fact that it's going to be, he's going to be hesitant to throw in the middle at this point, and he's going to stay right there instead of moving outward and going around Canelo.
Who you got winning the fight?
Canelo. Even though I like G.
Stoppage or decision?
If it's going to be a stoppage, I think it's going to be later, like 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, he can't stop Triple G. Hey, but now what about this?
Hold on, D-Ray. Who you got?
Huh? Who
you got in that fight?
Hey, I gotta wait till the weigh-in, see if anybody get pushed off the team. But I want to ask her about Bam. How good? What's his ceiling?
What's Bam's what?
Ceiling. Like how good do you think he can be?
Oh. I think Bam can be really good. It depends on the matches that they put in front of him, if he's going to go up in weight, etc. He's just so young at this point. I want to see more of him. But you know, like we've said, he's grown up in Robert's gym. We've known him since he was 12. So his fundamentals training is really it's stable. And the way that they have trained him it's been stable. He's not jumping around in different gyms trying to take a certain style. And being so young, he's going to have balls. He has a couple things to work on. But I think with experience, that's where he's just going to have to get experience and being in that ring. And but I mean, as far as like growing, like going into different divisions, I don't see that yet. I don't think he's grown into the man that he has to be to grow into the 118s or 122, if that's even what we're thinking about. Because like I said, from what I heard, Bam was thinking of going back down to 112.
Facts. So hold on, Rachel, now, and I got to, with him being 22 right now, I think he's 22. I'm right about it? Yeah, so with him being 22, taking on a Quadras who, a hell of a fighter, a veteran, very experienced, been in multiple wars. You know what I'm saying? As well as Rumvasai. Rumvasai the same way. A veteran, been in wars with in these divisions. You know what I'm saying? Well, Rumvasai been at 115 the majority of his career, I believe. So, but. The thing is for Bam to go in at 22 years old, going up in weight, right? Then saying he's going to come back down in weight. I think man, I'm not going to lie to you. Outside of Inoue, a cool boy from 122, well, I'm going to say 118 down. I ain't going to bring cool boy to me. From outside of Inoue, from 118 down, man, I think Bam is the goods. The skill set that he brings to the table, he don't have the most power, but the movement, people want to call Lomachenko the Matrix. This brother is the Matrix. He is the Matrix.
Yeah.
The way he changes angles. I'm just saying, bro.
I agree with him if I heard him right?
At 22 years old, he stepped in with Quadris Rumbas. I mean, not Quadris. I say Quadris. With Soul Rumbasai. Rumbasai, he stopped Chocolatito. Chocolatito don't get stopped, bro. Chocolatito does not get stopped. He stopped Chocolatito. And I think the 4th round when he did it. And for Bam to make such easy work of the brother, you know what I'm saying? For him to make such easy work of Quadris, that dude is a beast right now, man. I think he's the good. And right now, from 118 down, outside of Inoue, I got Bam, man. I'm picking Bam over anybody else. What you think about that, Rachel?
Well, I just think it's more of the fact that he just needs some experience. I think, a difference in styles and how he can adjust would further prove his physical attributes in the ring. I think at this point, he needs that experience to be, fighting guys that, even if you brought in Cool Boy stuff, like, he has to be able to adjust round by round, and prove that he can, right? I think the thing with the young kids is what we see a lot of the times is when they're coming into a momentum, they start to rely on certain things and won't change their mind off of that. And so to see him in an exchange, come back the next round and adjust to that exchange and continuously do that for 12 rounds, he has to have the experience in it. And I think he will get that experience. I just want to see where he's going in his career and the opponents that they put him up against.
Now, I will say, according to him, he said his brother, Joshua Franco, he said, according to him, man was like, he'll beat the shit out of me. So, hey, 2 questions for you. What do you think about Franco? You know what I'm saying? And the second part of the question, back to Bam real quick, is it that...
Oh, my Lord.
Said again, I'm out of control, B-Ray.
I don't think it's fair to ever, to compare 2 brothers. I think Nonito and Glenn were always compared, right? I think each of them have their own different paths and have made their statements in their respective paths that they chose. I don't think they're ever going to fight each other, for sure. But I think right now Bam does have the upper hand. Whether or not his brother would adjust to it. The thing is when you're growing up with someone, there are loopholes, there's flaws. Whether or not you can expose it is a totally different story. If you're not physically attributed to actually capitalize on those flaws is a totally different story. But I think Franco is the regular champion for a reason. But I don't think that they'll ever cross, and I don't think that's ever going to happen. That's like asking if the Charlos are going to happen.
I agree. Hey, we no need to fight Bam if it came down to it.
Yeah, what you doing out here, man?
If it came down to it and the business was the way that it pushed us to go there and we had no other option, then yes, it's the business of boxing. This is where we are. Now, if in the priority of things, and we have other paths like we talked about earlier, then no. He'd be the lowest priority, not because of who he is. It's out of respect for who he is and out of respect for Robert Garcia.
Yeah. I respect the relationship that y'all have with each other.
Yeah.
Facts. Agreed. Go ahead, D-Ray. I know I'm asking crazy questions, D-Ray. I know.
No, you're not, man. I'm just saying she just such a great interview and gives such great in-depth answers, man. It's just amazing, you know. But 5, if he got something, or Walker or Randy, I ain't want to hog it all up, but
nothing, bro. I'm actually good on the questions.
I'll hog it now.
I don't want to waste all your time, Rachel. You've been on my show for a long time. I appreciate you.
Nonito's probably gonna pull me off here in a couple minutes because I know I have a conference call at 7:30.
Yeah.
I have to work early too, so.
thank you.
Last question,
Rachel.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank you so much.
Who has the last question?
You know I got
He doesn't even talk. He's
5.
listening.
All right, so
Hey, Dub, hit her with the good one. She done checkmated you like, I don't know, but keep on going.
that's why I love her.
Last shot.
Hey, Rachel, she'll tell you I want to put her back against the fence, but she comes back fighting every time. That's why I love her. I love her to death.
You got 1 pound left.
Yeah, Dub already asked all the questions.
Okay, Ryan Garcia versus Fortuna. How you see the fight happening? Who you got winning?
Ooh, okay, so that was a question that you asked me before, right? Before the kids.
Right before the kids? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that Garcia is going to have a lot more punch output, but at the same time, it's going to give Fortuna a wide open window to retaliate. He has to work on his counter punching and being on the inside more than being at the end of Ryan Garcia's punches. That being said, I want to go Ryan Garcia's way. But now you're telling me that he's bulked up, so now I'm questioning it.
Man, and that's what I'm talking about is the weight that he's added on. Man, I was watching the brother, man, and he was doing jump ropes. He looked like a full-blown middleweight. He looked a full-blown
That's why I was asking you that question.
Oh, bro.
I think Ryan's going to try to outpoint him from the outside. I don't think he's going to want Fortuna to come in.
I think Ryan want to stop him. I think Ryan, I feel like because of what happened against his last opponent to go tackle whatever his name is, but because of what happened in that fight, I feel like Ryan feels he had a point to prove, and he wants to stop Fortuna. I think he wants to stop him.
I mean, if Fortuna comes in on a half step and leaves his jaw open, Ryan's left hook is highly similar to Nonito's, and we saw how the Darchinian fight happened. We saw, so I mean, just based on that, if Fortuna does not foresee or comes in blindly because he's trying to cut the distance too fast, he's going to run into that, and I think that would give Ryan the opportunity to knock him out.
It's gonna be a good fight. So you're picking Ryan to win the fight, right?
As long as he doesn't come in like as big as AJ, yes. You're worrying me about this because I haven't seen it. Now you're telling me I'm like picturing him as like the Hulk right now.
So think about it. So in his fight against Tago, right? He fought at 35. I believe they fought at 38. That was the weight limit for that fight. And I don't know, man. If Ryan makes 35, bro, I'll be surprised. I'm gonna be very surprised if he makes 35. I'll be very surprised. But we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, it's not. I mean, like that's the thing is that Ryan. I mean, when I saw him when did I see him? In April, he didn't look that bad. So you're telling me, and that was the end of April, May, June. So you're saying in 2 months he's bulked up?
Man, Ryan.
The way you said 2 months.
Ryan is ripped up. I ain't saying he looking like the Hulk or nothing like that, but I'm telling you, he looked like a full-fledged middleweight jumping rope.
That's surprising.
But that's just from my eyes, and I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. So maybe he makes the weight comfortably, and maybe he come in at 35 and has no problems with him coming in at 38 in the last, or 38 being the catch weight that they fought at. To go, he ain't got no room to make no damn catch weight. So we know the catch weight came from Ryan. I think if he don't come in at 35 this time, man, I don't know if he make 35 anymore. With being with all of 5'10", being a young man who's still growing, putting on the muscle mass that it looks like he's put on, if he make 35 in this fight, Rachel, you come back on and cuss me out, okay?
I mean, but the to-go fight wasn't for a title.
But this one ain't either. This ain't for no title. That's what I'm saying.
Why are they going 35 and not 38? The only reason I say that is because if you're not going for a title or something meaningful, well, I wonder if it has to do with the rankings, because the sanctioning bodies don't come too kindly when it comes to not making the actual weight. Where do they rank you? If you're fighting at 38, do they rank you at 35 or 40? It might have to do with they don't want to set a precedent that if it's not for a title, you're just not going to make the weight, and then how are you supposed to be ranked in either division? So that might be why they have to be at 35 and not a catch weight of 38.
And I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know what. I hadn't heard what the exact weight is, but I do know that Fortuna, his last fight was at 35. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia is supposed to be campaigning at 35, so I would feel like, especially with him wanting to fight Tank Davis next, I would feel like it would be at 35, but once again, Tank say the belts don't care either, so I hope the belts don't matter. So, hell, they might fight at 30. Who knows what they'll fight at? They may fight it. They'll probably fight at a catch weight.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you can't keep campaigning off of catch weights and then expect to be ranked if you're not even making the weight to begin with. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think the to-go fight was probably just like, hey, stay busy, but not to be too serious about, like, the weight division. Let's make it at 38. But if he wants to campaign at 35, he's going to have to make 35 more often than not.
But they already told us the belts don't matter. The belts don't matter no more.
They always say that.
So, but, all right, my bad, Tim. Hey, much to Queen. Much love to you. I always appreciate chopping it up with you, Queen.
Of course. Skywalker, thanks for having me on the channel.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you guys later before I get my ass kicked.
Thank you, Rachel. I think you might win that fight,
Good
though.
night, guys. Bye.
Thanks.
Rachel, donaire, subscribe.
Damn, I'm gonna have to get off you guys.